Local people, local news.
Good evening, everyone. Controversy surrounds Idaho's Republican Party tonight. Two members of the Central Committee say there's a secret society within. Brian Smith and Doyle Beck claim the goal of it is to get them out of party leadership. Local News 8's Chelsea Brensel looked into this today for us. And Chelsea, what'd you find out?
Well, Jay, the men say they cannot file a lawsuit because they do not know enough about this so-called secret society. So instead, they filed a petition to depose people that they believe know more about it. Court documents show a deposition scheduled for State GOP Chairman Steve Yates, along with 6 others in mid-April. Brian Smith, a regional GOP chairman, and Doyle Beck, the Bonneville County GOP committee chairman, filed this 7-page petition on December 15th of last year. It claims the Idaho Prosperity Project involved a, quote, clandestine core group of individuals whose goal is to, quote, reset leadership for Bonneville County and Region 7 in the Idaho Republican Party. The petition says the group will, quote, shepherd through all critical aspects to replace the positions held by Smith and Beck. The men say the group laid out a year-long strategy. That strategy involves recruitment and training of walkers. The plan states the job of those walkers is to identify voters that support their endorsed candidates. The plan suggests walkers would be recruited from Brigham Young University, Idaho. It says they would go door-to-door multiple times a week for 4 months before the May primary election. The petition states the group estimates over $100,000 for its operation, and that a group consultant is projected to be paid $90,000 for the year. The petition says, quote, Smith and Beck may have a claim for breach of duty, especially if one of the individuals is profiting financially to reset leadership while at the same time owing duties to Smith and Beck. But Smith and Beck claim they don't know who is in the group. That's why they petitioned to depose Idaho GOP Chairman Steve Yates and 6 others. The men hope those depositions shed light on who wrote the plan and who is involved with what they're calling a secret society. Court documents show Judges Alan Stevens, Bruce Pickett, and Dane Watkins removed themselves from the case. I reached out to Chairman Yates for comment, but have yet to hear back. I also spoke with Beck today, and he referred me to Smith, but as of right now, Smith has not called me back. Live in the studio, I'm Chelsea Brensel.
Thanks, Chelsea. Those depositions are scheduled on April 18th and 19th. We have the petition and other documents on our website at localnews8.com. New tonight, the Twin Falls base jumper and another man are behind bars after their friend died in a jumping accident off a television tower in Georgia. According to the Thomas County Sheriff's Office there, emergency crews were dispatched to the site of a 2,000-foot television tower in Metcalf around 3:30 this morning. Brandon Jackson has been identified as the man who died. His body was found in trees that are about 800 to 1,000 yards away from the tower. Miles Dasher of Twin Falls and Tom Baker were taken into custody on charges of criminal trespassing. Other charges are pending. However, both men posted bond tonight. Dasher is a professional parachutist. His website says he has completed over 7,200 skydives and 3,900 base jumps. He's sponsored by Red Bull and a member of the Red Bull Air Force. Now at 10, the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help to identify a man who robbed a Walgreens in Ammon. A surveillance camera captured this image of the suspect. He is described as a white man, about 5'8". He was wearing a black hoodie with a yellow reflective safety vest over the top. He also had a blue hard hat on. His face was covered with a light-colored fabric, and he was wearing dark glasses. Deputies say the armed suspect demanded medication from the pharmacist. If you have any information, contact the Bonneville County Sheriff's Office at 529-1200. If you'd like to remain anonymous, you can contact Crime Stoppers at 522-1983. Well, time now to take a look at our weather, and Michael, feeling more like spring out there all the time.
Yeah, temperatures are on the up and up, Jay. We're going to see a warming trend as we work our way into your Friday and Saturday here, with temperatures getting back into the 50s and 60s. Even pretty mild at this hour for this time of the night. 42 degrees in Pocatello at the Farm Bureau cam. Winds have backed off to lighter levels at 6 miles an hour. We had some dark clouds overhead. There was a bit of some weak moisture working out of the north. Just a bit of a cold front pushing through the region. That brought in a few spotty sprinkles and light scattered snow showers. That's what we're happening right now. That's what we're seeing here in around Burley and Rupert right now, also just east of Twin Falls and into the extreme western edge of the Snake River Plain and also into the southern highlands. But that's pretty much it for tonight. We're looking at wind speeds at 11 miles an hour out of the north-northeast for Idaho Falls. Northwest winds at 9 for Jackson, 12-mile-an-hour winds in DuBois, 17-mile-an-hour winds Leadore, and light winds also for Millette. As we look around the temperature map, you're seeing 30s already for Driggs and Jackson, still holding on to 40 degrees for IF and Rexburg. Up into the upper 40s still for Twin Falls and lower 30s in Island Park. Tonight we're going to be below freezing, heading back into the upper 20s, lower 30s on average for the plain. When I return, warmer temperatures but more scattered showers make an appearance in that 8-day forecast. We'll have that complete weekend outlook in just a few moments. We'll send it back over to Jay.
All right, thank you, Michael. With this beautiful weather, you may be thinking about taking a drive this weekend to enjoy Idaho's breathtaking scenery. And if you do, no doubt you'll notice a jump at the pump. Scott Logan explains the reasons for these higher gas prices.
Gas may be going up, but when it comes to prices, consumers I talk to say they're still in the driver's seat.
A couple years ago it was really bad. So we weren't able to really go anywhere or ever have gas, so I'm not going to complain.
You have to realize where we were 4 or 5 years ago. It would be $85 to fill up this car.
A lot better than it has been, so I don't mind paying the $2.
The cost of gas has been inching up steadily over the past month or so. In Idaho, the average price for a gallon of regular unleaded is $2.03. That's just under the national average, according to the American Automobile Association. A month ago, it was $1.83. But remember, it was $4.16 in the summer of 2008. Still, I know what you're thinking. How can gas prices go up when there are historic supplies of oil on hand? One reason is supply and demand. Prices have been low, so people are driving more, which increases demand for gas. In fact, the U.S. Department of Transportation estimates drivers logged just over 3 trillion miles in 2015. That's an all-time record. Another reason is seasonal. Refineries are switching to summer blends, which burn cleaner but are more expensive. But the U.S. Energy Department predicts the national average will peak at $2.08 from June through August.
And speaking of being on the roadways, 10 years ago, Idaho put in place the Move Over law. And still today, drivers aren't following it. This violation is putting lives at risk. Local News 8's Hannah Miller spoke to a local family who knows firsthand the dangers when someone doesn't change lanes.
Excelled at everything that he did. Had to be the best at everything that he did.
3 years ago today, Sean Eaton of Shelley went out on a call.
A driver was intoxicated or busy doing something else, didn't see him, and knocked him out of his boots. Smacked him and shot him 60, 70 feet.
Traffic cones were out and lights were on.
But it was a situation where he had that trust that nobody was going to be there. And so he walked around carelessly because there's cones and everything, and that guy went down in the ditch around our barricade and 70 miles an hour through it and just kept going. He hit him and kept going, and that's the hard part.
2 weeks later, Sean was walking out of the hospital ready to go back to work. But this February, a second tow trucking incident killed him.
How can this be happening again? I thought this was a dream.
I get nervous all the time. I mean, when you're on the side of the highway and you've got cars that won't move over, especially when it's the state law that you've got to move over for emergency vehicles.
Idaho law states that an authorized emergency vehicle does include tow trucks and wreckers in the process of recovering a vehicle. And when approaching one of these vehicles, drivers are required to slow down and move into the other lane.
Most people don't care.
ISP is cracking down on those who violate the move over law.
Now, if you fail to move over, you could be facing an $85 fine or worse. It could cost someone their life. Sean Eaton will be included on the Wall of the Fallen at the International Towing and Recovery Hall of Fame Museum. In your Education Watch tonight, what if you could go to college and not have your tuition increase at all for 4 years? This will soon be a reality for new students at Idaho State University. Today, Governor Butch Otter announced a tuition lock program at ISU. It'll start this fall for incoming freshmen. The cost of tuition will be figured by the average cost of attendance over 4 years. Then, each year, the students will pay the same amount. There are qualifications to be eligible for the lock. Students must be Idaho residents taking a minimum of 15 credits per semester. They also must maintain a minimum 2.0 GPA. The student also must be continuously enrolled each semester. There is an exception for those who leave for military service or religious reasons. They will have to attend 1 semester before they leave to qualify. ISU is the first university in the Gem State to try this tuition lock.
We're excited to be able to be the first to introduce this in Idaho. And we've had a lot of positive feedback from students and their families already.
Now, if it succeeds here, the governor's plan is to implement it at other universities throughout the state. Though the program has received a lot of support from the State Board of Education, it still needs the board's official approval. This will happen at its April 13th meeting. Meanwhile, administrators in Utah are considering raising college tuition. The increase would raise rates by as much as $278 per year. The Utah Board of Regents will consider a 3.7% hike tomorrow. It will affect the state's 8 public colleges and universities. Higher education administrators say the extra money is needed to pay for things like faculty compensation, expanding courses, and improving information technology. Around the region now, busking. That's a term that everybody knows about who has gained some serious traction in America over the last 30 years, but it somehow has escaped me. But I learned a little today, and it means to play music on the street for money. You can find buskers playing downtown Boise. Brian Holmes introduces us to one busker trying to take advantage of the workday crowd.
Springtime in Boise, and the sun is out. That usually means the people are too. But in the middle of the downtown deliveries,